What if Rhaegar Targaryen was born with all his memories? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Rhaegar Targaryen listens to the messenger report everything that happened in the Stormlands. He leans closer with the rest of his family, although he already knows what had happened. He had known for years, from flashes of memories, visions, and dreams that plagued him since he was a boy. He saw this event and countless more take place. Lord Steffan Baratheon is dead. His ship was lost with all hands off the coast of Shipbreaker Bay. The Lord of Storm's End had left in search of a wife for him. He traveled across the free cities in search of a woman of Valyrian blood, yet the ruler of the Stormlands had emerged empty-handed, and now this future cost him his life. He glances at his father, and for a moment the madness in Aerys' eyes has abated, replaced with pure, unfiltered grief. Gone was the Mad King who terrorized the realm and frightened even his most loyal supporters with his mood swings. In its place was a man simply trying to make sense of the loss of his dear friend. As the messenger finishes his report, Rhaegar gently urges him to leave, thanking him for his report. The man does not need to be told twice and hurries off before Aerys somehow blames him for Lord Steffan's death. Once he is gone and the door shuts behind him, Rhaegar looks at his father.
Father, I'm sorry about Lord Steffan. No. He did his duty. He served the realm and died serving it. He should be honored as a servant of the Seven Kingdoms.
Rhaegar only nods, seeing the flicker of madness in his father's eyes, and dares not oppose him, at least not now. When no one says anything, Aerys begins to speak yet again.
Now, let's return to the matter at hand. Your marriage, my boy. Though Lord Steffan was unable to find you a bride, I do still have candidates for you.
I heard Lord Tywin put his daughter forward.
Lord Tywin forgets himself. He must remember he is a servant. A dragon does not bring itself to the level of servants. Lord Steffan always remembered that. Perhaps I should have named him Hand instead. However, Prince Doran has pushed his sister forward. She is the right age, has a good reputation, and the dragon's blood within her veins is not too diluted. She will make an adequate wife for a Dornish woman.
You do not seem fully sold to this idea, Father. If I may make a suggestion, what of Lord Rickard Stark's daughter? Lyanna is her name, I believe.
The Starks? Have you no shame, Rhaegar? You choose the poorest of our servants. The Lannisters can at least bring wealth. The Dornish, their trade. What can the North provide? Snow and ice. The realm will mock us.
Or they might understand what dragons value. Lord Rickard and his line have always been loyal to the crown. Of all the great houses, they are the only ones that have not given the Targaryens trouble since Torrhen Stark bent the knee. That is the kind of loyalty a king should expect from his servants.
Indeed. I suppose that is true. Still, the Starks might be loyal, but they offer us nothing. Not gold, nor any resources.
They have strength. They say one Northman is worth 10 from the south, and Lord Rickon has thousands of men. You worry that Lord Tywin overreaches himself. This can be your chance to balance his power with support from the north. There are rumors that Lord Stark wishes to strengthen ties with the south.
I suppose. Very well. I shall consider this match and send a raven.
Rhaegar exhales, pleased with what he hears. He knows what will happen if he is to wed Elia, and that cannot come to pass. While he was fond of her, the princess did not suit his needs and would not produce enough children. But Lyanna, she is willing, and he admits that in the short time they knew each other, he found a connection with her unlike any other. The raven is soon sent out, and Rickard is stunned by this idea. The king is willing to offer his son's hand in marriage to Lyanna if she goes down south to present himself. She will initially serve in the royal court, and if she proves herself, he will organize the match. While he always wished to strengthen ties with the south, and was even discussing a possible marriage pact between Lyanna and Robert, this is far beyond what he could have hoped. The ruler of Winterfell agrees and sends Lyanna to serve as a lady-in-waiting for Rhaegar Targaryen. When the girl arrives, she finds the sprawling city before her, a sight unlike anything she's ever seen. Compared to the empty fields of Winterfell, this place teems with life. In some ways, it is a welcome relief, but in others, she finds it stifling. She enters the Red Keep. She finds herself greeted by the Mad King, who glares down at her, his wild purple eyes judging her every movement as she offers a curtsy. Aerys is unsure why Rhaegar chose her of all people, but sees no reason not to keep her, especially since it allows him to influence the North. He allows her to stay, and says that she will serve the Queen. Just as he hands her over to the maids and septas, they begin to lay down the rules of etiquette. Such things were not unheard of, as she had undergone similar training growing up in Winterfell, but these rules are far more thorough than she ever expected. It is enough to leave her head spinning, but as the Septa finishes laying down the protocol, a figure steps from the shadows of the hall. The prince smiles and regards the girl with a bow.
Lady Lyanna, your presence is most welcome in King's Landing. I have heard quite a bit about your family.
Thank you, my prince. I hope that the stories you heard were positive, not about the Northmen feasting on human flesh or lying with beasts.
Oh, nothing like that, my lady. I know your brother is fostered in the Vale, and Lord Aaron speaks highly of him. And your father plans on marrying off your elder brother to Catelyn Tully.
Indeed. My family has long been interested in the wealth of the South. He hopes to reap some of the benefits from it through marriage.
Then he must be very pleased with this arrangement.
Indeed. He most certainly is.
Rhaegar lifts an eyebrow, hearing how she mentions him and not her. He recalls the lady he encountered in Harrenhal in his past life. She was bright-eyed and eager for his attention. The girl looked close to tears when he called her the queen of love and beauty, and could not hold herself back when he began playing his harp. Then he reminds himself that that was a past life for her as well. He bows one last time and takes his leave. The next few months feel like a completely different world for Lyanna, as she leaves behind Winterfell for courtly life in the Red Keep. Much of that time is spent tending to the queen, drawing her baths, helping her dress, and escorting her as she goes about her daily duties. While it is rather taxing work and prevents her from being able to do other things she loves, like going out riding, still Lyanna is grateful for the experience to learn and the chance to meet with girls her own age. While there are some older ladies, there are also a few teenagers like her who gossip with her, but her favorite pastime is to watch the knights train in the yard. While some of the girls do that to admire the knights, chatting about the ones they hope to marry, Lyanna instead dreams of fighting with a sword as well and joining them in the sparring yard. Queen Rhaella sees how enamored the lady is when she watches them and graciously gives her time to enjoy herself. She proves to be a benevolent queen to serve under, treating Lyanna kindly. The same cannot be said for Aerys, who is prone to bouts of madness that only get worse as time goes on. Even though they live in separate parts of the palace and Lyanna rarely sees him, she occasionally hears his shrieks when she walks through the halls, his mad calls and paranoid ravings about those out to get him. Over time, his appearance worsens, as in the aftermath of the Defiance of Duskendale, the king grows out his hair and fingernails, leaving him looking like a creature from a nightmare. It frightens Lyanna, especially when he appears in the ladies' wing during the night, demanding to see his wife. It scares the other ladies as well, but Rhaella orders them away and deals with her husband alone. She does not know what happens there, but sometimes hears screaming. Lyanna runs back to her room and pulls the pillow over her ears as she tries to cover up the sound. She squeezes her eyes shut until tears prick them and fails to notice the shape appearing in her chambers. Rhaegar smiles and offers her a cup of tea.
Are you frightened, my lady? Truthfully, I am frightened too.
Your father, what is he doing?
I cannot say for certain, and a part of me fears looking into it and finding the answer. But my father has not been the same since the Defiance.
Some say he's mad.
Those people are wise for being able to see what others choose to ignore, but foolish if they say that in the presence of those who might hear. He is, but take heart. He shall not live forever. Count on that. And once I am king, I wish for changes to take place here.
He places a hand on her shoulder, and the two talk throughout the night, making this difficult situation just a bit more bearable. Rhaegar's words, his promises that this will not last forever, help Lyanna get through the difficult situation in the Red Keep, such as covering up Lady Rhaella's bruises and tending to her afterward. Bit by bit, the two spend more time together and get to know each other. Rhaegar is a bit distant and sometimes cryptic, but she is surprised at how approachable he is. Whenever they talk, she finds herself able to relax and discuss matters that she always thought she would keep secret. One of them is her desire to learn how to use the sword or to go out riding. For more conservative members of the court, this would be seen as scandalous, but Rhaegar actually laughs and promises to take care of it. Soon he has Sir Oswald Went sent her to train, while he also takes her out riding. She trains alongside Jaime Lannister, who offers her a smile and a constant sparring partner. While the Knight of Casterly Rock wins almost 10 out of 10 times they cross swords, the feeling is still exhilarating for Lyanna, who can put her passion into practice. All of this is kept a secret, and to anyone else, Lyanna appears just as another lady in court, even to Aerys, who doubtlessly would have disapproved. As the years go on, he finds himself pleased with her performance, and at last agrees to the marriage pact with Lyanna and Rhaegar. Unsurprisingly, Tywin is greatly displeased, and he soon resigns his position as Hand of the King. Rickard, meanwhile, is overjoyed at the prospect and fully cuts off any promises to marry Robert and Lyanna. The Lord of Storm's End is heartbroken by this, and Ned must comfort him for close to a week. With both these events happening simultaneously, Aerys decides to make an even bolder move of naming Rickard Stark his new hand. The Lord of Winterfell is invited to travel south and plan his wedding while advising the king. So, just as the Westermen leave the capital alongside Tywin, Rickard and his retinue arrive to take their place. While not as savvy a politician as the Old Lion, the Lord of Winterfell still proves to be an able hand. He has the same Stark honor while still being able to make alliances and work with other great houses. His friendship with Jon Arryn also helps, as the ruler of the Vale provides whatever he can to help. On a personal level, Rickard can create connections for the North, securing food, money, and the construction of modern infrastructure in the region. While Aerys proves unstable, Rickard gives him little reason to question his loyalty, though even the normally fierce wolf grows uneasy when the king is in one of his moods. Still, he continues to plan the betrothal with the king as the two move forward with their plan. He talks to Lyanna about it, and the girl is not fully pleased.
I understand your concern, daughter. I truly do. The king frightens me too. He's the last man I would want as a good brother, and yet he's still the king, and the North will need his support.
Are things truly so difficult back home that we must bow to these Southerners? I understand that the Targaryens are our king, but I've seen what they can do, and some of them are not worthy of our loyalty.
Though we have bowed to the Targaryens for 3 centuries, the North still acts like we are separate from the rest of the realm. We live alone, riding south only when we require something. The crown will not forget, and there may be a time when they say that they will not accept our pleas. That is why I hope to forge connections here, so when the winter comes, we must not fear where our grain comes from plead or ships to dock at our harbor.
You are certain of that, Aid, even with all their politicking?
I do not like it, Lyanna, but I have served with southern men in the 9 Penny Kings. There are cravens and politicians among them, but also brave men. I've trusted my life to them, and I stand here now. I do trust them to do more. Our land is not a wealthy one, but with southern gold, we can create a better life for our people.
If you truly believe in this future, then I will do my part to make it so.
Thank you, my daughter. And know this, if you ever believe Rhaegar is not treating you well, I will cut out his liver and make him eat it.
She giggles and nods, embracing her father. The old man laughs and nuzzles her before departing to his chambers. Yet, as he enters his solar, he freezes to see Rhaegar standing over his desk, absently sipping his wine. The hand drops to his knee and looks at the prince, but he smiles and gestures for him to stand up.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of making my future good father bow like a common bannerman. Rise, my lord. We have much to discuss. You seem to have done a good job in keeping my father's vices and flights of fancy in check. It is my duty. The king dreams and the hand builds, but I can only build what is within reason. Unfortunately, reason was never one of my father's strong suits, as you can see. He is a man who prefers to do things his way. It is one reason why his and Lord Tywin's relationship grew so combative, and why I fear it will devolve into something far worse. Your Grace, let me assure you that I will do everything to prevent that from happening. Thank you for that. But if you truly mean it, then you should listen to what I have to say and keep an open mind. You know as much as I that my father was never the same since his captivity. He sees enemies in every shadow and believes cruelty is what allows him to keep his throne. It is a dangerous combination, and it will only be a matter of time until he burns the realm to the ground. That is why I wish to rid him of this burden and take the crown for myself. Are you suggesting usurpation, my prince? I'm suggesting we do what is best for the realm. Do you think we will be doing good by leaving him to rule unchecked? You said you accepted this position for the good of the people. Keep in mind, Aerys might favor you now, but how long until he loses favor? Remember, he knew Tywin Lannister longer than you.
With that, the offer has been laid out and pushed before Lord Rickard. The promise of further support is enough to entice him. For the next few weeks, things seem to proceed without any incident, as the next major event is the Great Tourney of Harrenhal. All of this was done to showcase the wealth of Lord Went. Rickard also suggests using it as an opportunity to announce the marriage between Lyanna and Rhaegar. Many of the realm's great lords will be there, allowing them to swear loyalty, and for them to see if anyone will oppose them. Lord Went eagerly provides his support for this matter, and this leaves Aerys to agree with the proposal. Spring sunlight spills across the vast field beneath the looming black walls of Harrenhal. Thousands gather beneath banners of every color, lions and stags, krakens and roses, direwolves and dragons, along with all of their bannermen. The trumpets blare, announcing the first day of a grand tourney, the greatest spectacle the realm has seen in a generation. Lord Went beams with pride from his dais, but the crowd's eyes are not on him. They turn toward the Iron Throne's representatives, King Aerys II, his silver hair tangled and his nails long as claws, and beside him his son, Prince Rhaegar, the very image of what a dragon is, ethereal, dignified, and mysterious. Aerys' eyes dart widely about, suspicious and glimmering with feverish light. Every whispered word, every glance from a lord below, he interprets as mockery or treason. His laughter rings out, shrill and unprovoked, making even his Kingsguard exchange uneasy looks. Lord Rickard Stark sits nearby, his expression stoic, though behind his eyes burns calculation. He knows this is the moment. Rather than stop the king, he allows the madness to slip out, to show the realm what he is. Meanwhile, as the tilt begins, Rhaegar moves among the gathered lords, quiet as a shadow, speaking to them one by one. Lord Jon Arryn, Lord Hoster Tully, and Jon Connington. Each receives a few murmured words, a nod, a promise. The prince's voice is soft, but his intent is clear. The realm cannot survive under Aerys. Rickard also does the same amongst his own men, Great John Umber, Roose Bolton, Jorah Mormont, and Waymond Manderly. The first days of the tourney pass in revelry, but whispers spread like wildfire. Aerys' paranoia worsens. He orders cups to be tasted, food to be tested. When a hedge knight jokes too loudly near the royal pavilion, Aerys commands his arrest. When one of Rhaegar's squires stumbles while bringing the prince's armor, Aerys shouts that the boy is an assassin. By the third night, fear has replaced celebration. The great feast begins beneath the vaulted hall of Harrenhal. Tables overflow with roasted boar, wine, and song. Aerys sits at the high table, twitching, muttering about enemies. His laughter cuts through the music. Then, without warning, he rises, goblet trembling in his clawed hand.
You think I do not see it? All of you, whispering behind my back, plotting my fall. Even my own son, the Spider Prince, hiding vipers in his smile.
The hall falls silent. Only the crackle of the torches answer him.
Father, please, you shame yourself before your loyal subjects. Sit and rest. The wine has overcome you.
Silence, traitor. You think I don't know? You and your plots would see me dead.
Gasps ripple through the crowd. Lyanna, seated near Queen Rhaella, flinches. The queen closes her eyes as if praying this moment away.
Your Grace, we've all seen your condition. You are unwell. The realm cannot endure this madness any longer. For the good of the Seven Kingdoms, you must yield your crown to your son.
So at last, the latest viper shows itself. I will have you dead and strung up on the walls of Harrenhal. You think that because you were able to get your whore daughter close to my son, it makes you a dragon. I will burn you and see.
But no one moves. Not even the Kingsguard. Sir Arthur Dayne exchanges a look with Sir Geralt Hightower. Both draw their swords, not toward the lords, but toward the king.
I'm sorry, Your Grace, but we cannot watch you do this.
Madness! Traitors! Have you no shame? You swore to protect the king!
We are, Your Grace. We protected you from yourself. You would make yourself an enemy of the realm. If you truly wish to serve the Seven Kingdoms, then please do not resist.
Never!
Escort His Grace back to King's Landing. A ship will take him to Dragonstone. He will be cared for there, and kept safe.
The knights take the screaming king who thrashes against their grip, but he is feeble and unable to resist as he is led away. His crown slips from his head, rolling across the floor until it comes to rest at Sir Barristan's feet. The knight bows and offers the crown to Rhaegar.
By right of blood and sanity, you are now the protector of the realm. Command us.
The hall is silent as the prince kneels, lifting it in his hands. He turns to the gathered lords, Stark, Arryn, Tully, Baratheon, Martell, all watching.
I never wished for this, but I will not let the realm burn. I will rule not as my father, but as the dragon who heals the wounds of fire.
One by one, they bend the knee. Outside, the banners of House Went ripple in the evening wind as word spreads through the camp. Aerys the Mad is dethroned. Rhaegar Targaryen is king. With that, the realm is now under his control, but Rhaegar is not blind to its problems. Though removing the Mad King is an important step, many issues remain. The Targaryen control of the realm was already weakening before Aerys, but with his instability, the situation continued to deteriorate. He must begin making efforts to strengthen his rule. Rhaegar proves to be a great help. As promised for his support, he provides loans and experts to develop the north. These are to build ports and roads along the region to reunite various houses. However, Rhaegar does not leave them totally under their control. In the ports, tax duties are collected by the royal collectors. The roads are maintained through the treasury, and loans are paid to the crown. Most importantly, Rhaegar also begins to reorganize the small council, which consists of major lords from different regions. Rickard remains his hand while Brandon becomes his new Lord of Winterfell. At the same time, he also recruits Lord John Arryn as Master of Coin, John Connington as Master of Law, and Doran Martell as Master of Whispers. It is no coincidence that Rhaegar selected lords from great houses. His goal is to strengthen the royal control of the Seven Kingdoms. With these lords serving him, it provides him an opportunity to create stronger ties with them and to begin moving royal allies into positions of power. Lesser houses are granted greater responsibilities, being appointed to positions of power normally reserved for high-ranking lords. These include positions of tax collectors, bailiffs, and stewards. Lyanna offers her aid in this and rides alongside Sir Jaime and Arthur Dayne to meet with the small folk and bannermen of the great houses. Seeing the Queen personally ride out to hear their plight goes a long way in strengthening support for the crown. People rush out to cheer her name when they see her direwolf banner. They come out, offering blessings, providing her with bread, and throw flowers at her path. In each village, the King's Guard and the Queen meet with village elders, septons, and lesser lords. They hear about the issues with taxation, abuses of power, and arbitrary judgments. All of these are addressed by the King's Guard, who take these matters to the king. In most cases, Rhaegar provides only stern warnings, sometimes fines, but in some cases he places a royal representative in these lands to ensure that the king's peace is maintained. While part of this is indeed to ensure the protection of the people, this is also to allow the crown to have a hand in the affairs of the lesser lords, yet he does so while maintaining the Iron Throne's good name. While it does ruffle the feathers of lords who are annoyed by increased oversight by the crown, they cannot seriously challenge it. In that spirit, Rhaegar also continues to send support to the Wall, under the explanation that this will help the North, as they will no longer have to be wary of the wildlings. He recalls how Aerys wished to expand the realm and create a new wall under 100 leagues further north. It certainly is a bold plan, and one unrealistic, but it isn't entirely without merit. While Lyanna travels across the Seven Kingdoms to win support for the crown, Rhaegar throws himself into the old records of prophecy and magic. Many of them are books he has read before, either as a child or in his past life, but now he reads them again and feels the memories flooding back, and with them, the worry of coming troubles, the promises of something far greater than any army of men. He pours himself into his work, trying to figure out all he can. What he pieces together are isolated scraps of the long night, half-forgotten tales and fables lost in the darkness and snow. One night, he is so engrossed in the stories of the last hero that he fails to hear his door opening until a pair of hands wrap around his neck.
Still working, Rhaegar? You need sleep.
I can't sleep now, my dear. Not while there is still so much to do. Not when there is still so much I don't know.
My husband, you look through these books and act as if these monsters will pop up and attack us.
She meant it as a joke, but when she looks at Rhaegar, she finds no humor in him. He taps his finger impatiently as he wishes to get back to work.
You will drive yourself mad with this worrying. Please, take a break. For me. And at least help me understand what has you so concerned.
The long night.
The long night? Isn't that a children's story? One old Nan used to tell me when I was a little girl. To try and frighten me.
If she told you that to scare you, then you were right to be afraid. It is no fable. There is much about this period that is all too real, and I fear. The Targaryens have long held a prophecy, one wrapped in magic and tragedy. We call it the Prince Who Was Promised, and it speaks of a hero who shall rise up and save the world from darkness. In all our history, there was never such a time except for the long night. That must mean these are connected.
You're basing all this on prophecy and songs. Please, Rhaegar, let us give this rest. At the very least, we can put aside this talk until another time.
Rhaegar agrees, and they shut the door behind them. Not long after, their first child is born to them, a dark-haired boy who they name Jon. His birth is cause of much celebration within the realm, and none are happier than Queen Rhaella. With the two so busy righting the wrongs in the realm, she takes an active part in raising him. With Aerys now confined to Dragonstone, she is at last free of her husband and appears much happier. The sight of her grandson only further helps her as she helps raise him whenever Lyanna must travel or Rhaegar is too busy with research. She is aided by Rickard, who, despite his stern personality, has a soft spot for the boy and spoils him. On occasion, Ned also joins in, but he primarily serves as part of the royal delegation to Dorne with his wife, Lady Ashara. However, despite his best efforts, Rhaegar struggles to find all the information he needs. Many of the records of the Long Night have since been lost, and the Maesters cannot provide him with all the information. Because of that, he turns to sources beyond the Seven Kingdoms. Rhaegar remains in close contact with his granduncle, Maester Aemon, who remains a respected member of the Night's Watch. Rhaegar sends him maesters and other scholars to join in the rangings. There they speak with the less hostile wildlings, visit ancient sites, and search for anything that might provide clues about the Long Night. He also sends out word to the people beyond the Narrow Sea. Scholars and archons all send what they can. Ancient texts pulled from private collections, tomes from old libraries in the Free Cities, and trinkets carried out of Westeros by enterprising traders. But the most influential of all these endeavors is from the followers of R'hllor, who send one of their own to meet with him.
Greetings, Your Grace. My brethren understand you are seeking the answers to the Long Night.
I am. Are you familiar with the story of the prince who was promised?
I am, but I know it by a different name, Your Grace. Where I am from, we refer to that tale as Azor Ahai, yet its contents are just the same. For no matter where you are, the night is dark and full of terrors.
Indeed. Yet I wish to know just what those terrors are.
Then look into the flames.
She gestures towards a brazier laid on the ground of the throne. Coals and wood are placed while a torch is thrown in. Melisandre throws her head back and gestures toward the flames as they begin to rise. Her lips move into a otherworldly voice, speaking in a tongue long forgotten as the fires roar around her. The ruby on her neck seems to reflect the flame, bathing her in eternal light. The Kingsguard step back, gripping their swords tightly, while even Rhaegar seems uncertain of the sight. But as they look at the fires, tongues of flames writhe around, dancing and swirling in the darkness. They form shapes that seem incomprehensible to most, but Melisandre seems to see no problem in watching them. Finally, as the fires die out, she looks over at Rhaegar.
The monster you fear, the great other, is beyond your reach. He gathers strength beyond the wall. Though he is weak now, his power grows every day.
I will not allow him to become so powerful. Guide me, my lady.
And just like that, a new member of the small council is added. Melisandre is given no official title, but her presence becomes a mainstay for them. She is never far from the king, sitting across from Lyanna as the two women who advise him. Lord Rickard Stark stands to his right as always, silent, solemn, watchful. On the king's left sits Melisandre. Just as they handle the problems of the realm, they also discuss other things that seem strange to the Lord of Winterfell. Questions regarding the status of the Night's Watch, wildlings, and the lands beyond. He continues to send scholars and other advisors across the region, with knights and men-at-arms to support them. And yet these reports offer nothing of value. They find simply more of the same. Ruins from civilizations long forgotten, hostile wildlings, and not a single speck of anything out of the ordinary. The Crown already sponsors these expeditions, and the costs grow the further they spread. Yet, with nothing to show for it, some lords begin to grumble as to why they have to spend so much on it. Even Rickard cannot ignore. Though it is said to support the North and ensure its protection, it begins to look more like a senseless expense. Yet, when he proposes that these expeditions be halted, Melisandre insists that they are not looking far enough. They look only to the lands known by wildlings, but what they search for is far worse, far older. It is found in the lands of always winter. She instead suggests that they move past the Frostfangs, sending expeditions to the frozen shore. To support their plan, Rhaegar turns to Quellan Greyjoy, the venerable lord of the Iron Islands. Although old and with his health failing, he has always been eager to serve the realm and improve ties between the Iron Islands and the rest of the Seven Kingdoms. His ally, Roderick Harlaw, is named Master of Ships and helps organize an expedition for the Iron Throne. Soon enough, longships bearing volunteers, knights, and maesters are sent to the expedition. They travel across the frozen shores, feeling the ice winds blow at them, and as they venture deeper, these expeditions are consumed by the cold. Weeks pass. Reports from the north grow darker. Whole companies vanish into blizzards that never lift. Those who return speak of vast plains of blue-white ice where no stars shine, of whispers that claw through the wind. Many die raving before they can be questioned. Half a dozen efforts are sent, and each one ends in disaster. For weeks they grow silent, and then a few survivors struggle back across the wall. The men who are left are driven mad by what they see. They speak of undead creatures, beings of ice, and frozen storms so cold that they burn. To Rhaegar and Melisandre, these claims are confirmation of the others, yet to anyone else, they are simply the ravings of madmen. The Crown suggests further expeditions to learn more about this, but no one can bear to send more people to watch them die.
The cold darkness rises, and only the light of Rhaegar can drive it back.
At her words, murmurs ripple across the table. Jon Arryn glances uneasily toward Rickard, while Doran Martell studies the priestess with quiet suspicion, but Rhaegar appears intrigued. However, such a service was not without cost, and Melisandre insists that the realm must worship the Lord of Light to prepare for the coming darkness. Temples to R'hllor rise in King's Landing and other towns, their red glass windows glowing through the night. Foreign priests arrive from Asai, Lys, and Volantis, speaking of the chosen king who shall bring dawn to the world. At first, the people are curious. So far, Rhaegar has ruled well and has given no reason for doubt. While some of the more pious small folk are skeptical about the religion and condemn it, most people are willing to leave it in peace. However, the followers of R'hllor grow more fanatic. They fully buy into the idea that Melisandre pushes, and they begin to turn against those who still follow the faith of the Seven. Septs are attacked, and Septums punished for their beliefs. Then the people grow afraid. The Septums denounce the Red Temples as heresy. In the streets, mobs burn effigies of fire priests each time the Sept is sacked. The High Septum warns of foreign gods seeking to devour the soul of Westeros.
You play with fire, Your Grace. The realm will not bow to strange gods. You seek unity, yet this divides us.
Faith unites, Lord Rhaegar. It gives men purpose beyond gold and steel. The Seven offer comfort, but not salvation. The fire teaches men to fight.
And you think that will get more men to go north to die?
Rhaegar, this plan isn't natural. You are playing a dangerous game.
My dear, it will be even more dangerous if I don't.
And why is that?
Because the night is dark and full of terrors. Beyond the wall, in that frozen land, are beings that will bring about the long night.
Rhaegar's eyes flicker with a distant light, the same haunted certainty that once marked his father, though tempered by grief rather than madness. If that is the cost of dawn, then so be it. Outside, the bells of the Sept of Baelor toll in protest as smoke from the Red Temples drifts across the city. Meanwhile, it takes some convincing, but at last another expedition is sent out, and to show his support, Lord Quellan Greyjoy personally takes command. He stands at the prow of his flagship as a fleet of Ironborn log ships set sail. He studied the failures of the previous expedition carefully and made preparations. He hires only experienced sailors and gathers whatever weapons he can as they touch down upon the frozen shore. Behind the ships, the wall looks like a tiny thing behind them. The expedition has come further than any before it. At their rear, men from the Night's Watch tend to fires that barely flicker in the cold. Ahead, nothing but endless white. Quellan turns to his maester.
Send word to the king. We've reached the lands without winter. There is nothing here. No beasts, no trees, no life.
And yet, my lord, do you hear it? From the storm, a low rumble answers, distant, unnatural, like the groan of the world itself. The Ironborn grip their axes, glancing uneasily toward the ice fields. Shadows move across the frost. Then, the dead come. They emerge without sound, a tide of blue eyes and broken flesh, their weapons rimmed with frost. The first ranks fall beneath arrows of flame, but still they come, silent and endless. Quellan does not yield and sweeps his battle axe back and forth, striking through the dead, but their numbers are endless, and around him his guards begin to fall. Quellan shouts defiantly, roaring for his men to get back into the battle, but then he sees them. Atop a frozen ridge is the Night King, his gaze piercing through his armor and draining his courage. His axe nearly slips from his hand, and he shakes his head.
Like the Barretts, bring the wildfire.
The green jars are hurled across the ice, shattering an emerald flame that cuts through the white storm. The heat is blinding, the stench unbearable. The dead burn in droves, slowed but not halted. Still, it is a relief, and he prepares for another attack. Then, the earth itself begins to crack. A roar like 1,000 thunderclaps rips through the heavens as the glacier before them splits open. From the abyss rises something vast and terrible, scales of translucent ice, wings like frozen storms. Its eyes burn with the same blue fire as the dead. An ice dragon. The men scream. Quellan shouts for retreat, but it is too late. The dragon inhales, and the world turns white. The last thing Quellan Greyjoy sees is the dragon's shadow blotting out the stars. News of the disaster spreads like plague. Of the hundreds who sailed north, only a handful crawl back to the Shadow Tower, half mad, half frozen, babbling of a dragon of ice and death that breathes winter itself. When word reaches the Iron Islands, grief turns to fury. Balon Greyjoy gathers his captains in Pike's Great Hall, his voice echoing off the cold stone.
My father died for a mad king's dream. No more. The Iron Islands owe the crown nothing. They are the krakens of the sea, and the sea bows to no dragon.
The drum of rebellion beats across the island. Ironborn longships strike like raiders of old, seizing the royal garrison at Greatwick, hanging its officers from their masts. The banners of the Kraken rise once more. Balon Greyjoy, king of the islands and the North Sea. In King's Landing, news arrives like a hammer blow. The council chamber erupts in chaos. Jon Arryn demands restraint. Doran Martell urges diplomacy, but Rhaegar's eyes burn with feverish conviction.
They saw the truth and fled from it. Kellen's death will not be in vain. First, we must restore the Iron Islands to the realm, and then we shall send more ships.
Enough! The realm is bleeding, and you spill more blood to feed your prophecy. That thing was awoken because of wildfire, the survivors claim. The Ironborn are in open rebellion, and half the realm is questioning your sanity. Do you think they will return the crown if you demand they set sail again? There are some who claim you are just as mad as your father.
Do not speak to me of madness, Lord Stark. You have not seen what I have seen. The wall of night rising over the world. The frozen rivers with blood. If I must sacrifice 1,000 lives to prevent it, then so be it.
Blood is the price of salvation, my king. The Lord of Light demands it. The realm must be purified in fire before dawn can come.
If this continues, the realm will burn long before winter comes.
He leaves the chamber in grim silence. Later that night, in the quiet of the Godswood, he meets with Lyanna.
You must listen to me. He is lost to his visions. If we do nothing, the realm will die screaming. You were the one he trusted most. The one who can reach him. You must stop him before he becomes what he swore to destroy.
You ask me to betray my husband.
I ask you to think of Jon. He's a boy, and if this madness continues, he will not have a realm to inherit. I ask you to save the realm.
And with that, Lyanna nods. She speaks to Jaime, who was only a boy when he saw the king's madness. She speaks to Rhaella, who experienced her husband's insanity, and the others who see the realm starting to unravel. They all offer their support, and just as they depose the Mad King, Jaime and Ser Barristan help organize a coup made up of Goldcloaks Northmen and pious Southerners who grow up in fear of the Lord of Light. They storm the Red Keep and capture Rhaegar while he is sleeping, dragging him from his chambers and taking him to Dragonstone. Rickard is named Protector of the Realm and the Regent of Jon. From there, he begins to organize the defenses of the North. Far beyond that, beneath a moon as pale as bone, the Ice Dragon stirs once more. Its wings unfurl, vast as mountain shadows. It soars southward, trailing storms in its wake. It passes over Hardhome, where 1,000 wildlings gather for warmth, fleeing there to hide from the rumors. The sky darkens as the dragon exhales. Frost fire sweeps across the village, freezing flesh and flame alike. The screams are brief. When silence falls, only blood remains, red upon the snow, seeping into the earth like an offering. Melisandre wakes in her chambers, trembling. Her ruby glows bright as fire.
The sacrifice is made. The long night awakens.
Yet with this sacrifice, the whole realm shakes as the wall crumbles. Its ancient magic is overcome by something far purer, the blood price, and the first beyond the breach is the Ice Dragon. From the wall to Winterfell, the dead advance like a tide without end. The White Walkers move among their legions of corpses. Cold crowns of frost glimmer beneath a sun that no longer gives warmth. The sky hangs gray and still, choked with endless snow. Houses all across the north raise their swords up to try and resist. They rush to meet them, following Brendan's lead. He hacks through the waves of the dead, shouting for the others to follow. And though their hooves crush the undead, hundreds more rush to take their place. Rickard brings up reinforcements from across the realm, ships of wildfire, bowmen from the Stormlands, lances from the Westerlands, and spears from Dorne. All of these lead to a bloody series of battles that bludgeon the army of the living, but at least buys time for people to escape. Yet soon enough, this becomes untenable, and his army instead retreats to the neck. At Moat Cailin, Rickard prepares himself. It serves as the last bastion of the north. Men from every house stand upon the ramparts. Starks, Manderleys, Umbers, and Boltons who fled the frozen fields. The neck burns in front of them. The swamps turn to glass by dragonfire that could not halt the dead.
How many? Too many. They march night and day. No rest, no fear.
Below them, Lyanna leads riders through the mud, rallying the defenders, her face pale but unflinching. For every wight they fell, 3 more rise from the snow. Jaime stands close to her, with orders to lead her away if things turn back.
Old gods, if you ever watched us, watch us now.
Far south, in the storm-racked halls of Dragonstone, King Rhaegar Targaryen sits alone in his quarters. Though he is allowed to roam free, he understands his position well. He is a prisoner in all but name. The council in King's Landing has declared him unfit, his visions too dangerous, his faith too consuming. But even here he recognizes that the realm is freezing, yet he is powerless to stop it. Outside, the sea crashes endlessly against the cliffs. Then the air shifts, the door opens, and Melisandre enters, her ruby blazing like a small sun.
My king, the cold will soon reach the neck, the living falter, and if they break here, there shall be no stopping them. The old gods are silent, yet there is still hope.
Hope? The north is gone. The wall is gone. My armies are ashes.
The Lord of Light demands balance. Blood paid for their arrival, and blood may banish them. Blood for blood. A king's life for the realm's salvation. The fire must answer ice. You know this, my king. You have seen it. It need not be yours.
He may be mad, but he is still my blood. I would be no better than him.
You would be far greater. You would save the world he damned. His death will awaken what sleeps on this island. The stone dragon that never flew. With it, you can end the long night.
Rhaegar closes his eyes. He sees his father's wild gaze, the fire in his hands, the screams of those he burned. He remembers his promise to be different, not just from him, but from the man who had made all those mistakes in his past life. With Melisandre, he's able to cow the garrison into submission and convince them to bring out Rhaegar Targaryen to the center of the courtyard. His silver hair wild, his eyes burning with madness and terror.
Rhaegar, you would betray your father, your king. They will burn you for this.
Melisandre chants in the tongue of Asai, the ruby at her throat pulsing like a heartbeat. The fire in the brazier roars higher, taking shape, the shadow of a dragon rising from the flame. Ares screams as the ritual begins. Blood spills upon the stone, and the island trembles. The castle walls quake as the great stone dragon that has stood still for centuries begins to awaken. Its scales glow with life that had not been there before. Its wings tear free from the cliffside. Its roar shakes the heavens. Rhaegar mounts it and shouts for those to follow him.
The prince that was promised, the song of ice and fire, is at last fulfilled.
In the frozen wastelands of the Neck, all seems lost. The dead swarm the battlements of Moat Cailin, their claws scraping against the walls. Lyanna fights beside her brother Brandon, blood freezing on their blades. Rickard shouts for his people to follow him, forming a tight defensive line, but this slowly falls into tatters as they cannot do anything to halt their advance. He looks out at the endless hordes of the dead and the ice dragon, which had already destroyed 2 of the towers. Now the children's tower remains, and he closes his eyes, preparing for it to make its next pass. He's about to order Jaime to get Lyanna out of there, but then the sky ignites. A light like sunrise bursts through the storm as the stone dragon descends, wreathed in flame. Upon its back rides Rhaegar, the king of ashes. The ice dragon answers from the north, its roar shattering the air. The 2 collide above the battlefield, fire against frost, light against shadow. The sky itself splits as their flames meet, one burning golden and the other icy blue. From atop its back, the Night King raises his spear and hurls it at him. Rhaegar ducks low, feeling it whistle past his head. He stares into those pale, dead eyes and watches the storm forming around him. Then he sees the dragon rearing back and trying to snap at him. Yet the stone dragon senses this as well and rakes its claws across his belly, sending the beast reeling back in pain. Rhaegar grabs the saddle and directs it forward. The stone dragon bites into his neck and sinks its claws into its stomach. With their bodies interlocked, Rhaegar takes this chance and leaps onto the ice dragon's back. The Night King is waiting for him, slashing his sword at him while Rhaegar meets him with his dragon glass blade. Their weapons collide in a thunderous spark as he pushes himself forward. The icy sword drives into his cheek. The pain is blinding and sends his face going numb. And yet Rhaegar keeps fighting and beats back his attack. He pushes the ice blade back and presses closer, trying to get into his defenses, yet he struggles to even keep his balance as the ice dragon shudders and tries to break free from its attack. The Night King tries to regain control of it, the ice dragon smashing its tail against the stone dragon and, at last, breaking free. It barely has time to recover before the Night King urges it to dive and prepares to finish off Mount Caelan. Yet Rhaegar continues to attack, his sword flashing and forcing the Night King to divide his attention. His sword comes up where Rhaegar's blade strikes, holding him back as the ground looms larger. Without thinking, the king throws himself forward and feels the blade sinking into his side as he plunges his sword into the Night King's chest. His entire body shatters, crumbling into the wind just as the shape looms overhead. The stone dragon descends and sinks its fangs into the ice dragon's head, letting it pierce flesh, and shoves it downward onto the ground while Rhaegar climbs onto its side. It crashes into the ground with a deafening sound. When the light fades, the dead stand still. Then, one by one, they fall lifeless at last. Days later, when the sky is clear, Melisandre stands upon the shores of Dragonstone. She gazes northward, the sea calm for the first time in months. From the mist, a single dragon rises, the stone beast, cracked and scarred, its rider slumped and weak. The whole realm speaks of the stone dragon that saved them, and soon enough, Rickard arrives, followed by Sir Jaime, Lyanna, and all the others who had seen the battle, who know that this was Rhaegar's doing. They all drop to their knees and bow before him. Maesters are sent to tend to him, and once he recovers, he is welcomed back to the Iron Throne. As he enters the throne room, for the first time, he does not feel destiny weighing on him, and can rule as a free man. That's our theory. Westeros is a land filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey across the Seven Kingdoms and beyond, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.